And hello to all my Leo friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free psychic tarot reading for January 2023. Now, today they've dialed up a very specific spread for my Leos. They want to do a financial specific corner spread. Now, we're going to set that up in the storyline format. Great spread for these general readings because it casts a very wide net. And in this case, it's a financial wide net across a whole bunch of different Leos going through different things. And we're going to tell a story here that is all about you, usually in the form of 3 or 4 different stories. Not all of them will resonate with you, but some people have told me that sometimes multiple ones do and will, and that's okay if they do. But at the end of the day, we're looking for that one story that is right for you. And financial spread is a big deal right here, coming off of the Christmas hump. They want to get you guys some pertinent financial advice here, some information, save you guys some drama and some stressors later is what they're trying to get ahead of here. And we're going to knock that out. Now, they've asked that I conclude your reading with no extra at the end. I view that as a good thing usually. It means one of two things. One, either the financial spread is just going to be so big, so massive, and take up so much of our time that we just need to focus on that and that alone. Or it's, you know what, it's just a simpler month here for my great Leos. We just need to get them a few little details here and there, and they're pretty much good to go as is. So we're also going to conclude your reading with the runestone. We do that for all the signs, and that's going to bring the whole thing together very, very nicely into this thing we call January. So we're going to get started right now, guys. The cards are already shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save us all a bunch of time. Right now I'm going to bring you in the overhead so you can watch. I'd like to share my table with you guys and show you what's going on. Yep, we're in photo mode, not video mode. That's not good. That's not going to get it done. There we go. Now it should be on. All right. Little technical difficulty there, but we got through it. Leo, no issue. So what I'm doing now, Leo, these are my ritual cuts, cutting each deck into thirds, and we put them back together in a separate order, different order, and that satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. It's the same procedure for personal private readings. It's just like you're here with me now. So the storyline spread, it starts with 5 cards, and I expand out from there where I need to go. And also the deck that they wanted me to use for you guys has a tendency to create very large storylines. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to need more than this 5. So I'm still going there. I'm still going to need to go from there. Am I off the screen yet? No, we got a little bit more room to work with. We're still going from there. Still going down here. Still going here. Still going here. Still going here. Like I said, they get very long sometimes, and that's the case here. There, we finally got our end. So this is our very large spread. Now the next challenge that I have is getting facings together. Getting the facings together to figure out what story goes to where, and you know, it may be more than 4 stories in this case. We have so much going on here. Okay, so where to start? Let's grab the majors. One story, 2 story. I'm going to probably get off screen a little bit here. I'll move the camera around so you guys can see everything at the end. Don't worry. 3 story. Okay, it's going to be 5 stories, and it's going to look like this. These are the groups. Not enough inverted right now to matter. I'm going to get the rest of the cards that I need first, and then we'll do a couple discards just to make sure they don't want them all uprighted. It's pretty much just going to be this story over here. Get a couple cards for it. And nope, that turned out okay. So we're actually going to need to do no discard for any of that. Do need some more cards, though, to describe my stories. And this is where the table does get very, very full. Like I said, I'll move the camera around and let you guys see. Is this a person? Yes, it is. And what is that person doing? Okay. Creating some more room. Here I'm just going to get one card because they're both pips. They're both smaller energy cards. Is this a person? No, it's not. Discard. Using the energy of that king. Then down here I need extra cards for the hermit. Major arcana card. I need to verify if that's a person. It is not. But we'll talk about what she's doing like that. And then is this a person? No, but we'll talk about what that energy is doing right like that. So here is the group. And like I said, very, very big. We need an oracle card for every single story. That's the other part of this whole thing. Touching everything as I connect to it. That just kind of energetically does the job. That's a very good indicator there. Oh, I missed a couple down here. Is this a person? I must not be awake yet. It must be coffee time for me. That is not a person, but I do need to leave that here to describe. And one card for my shared pips. Okay, so now we can finish with the rest of the Oracle cards. Gonna be a big spread here for you guys. I can see why they wanted no extra. It's quite evident now. That's one of the examples I told you, is that, it's just, the spread is just so big that, well, you know what? We don't have time for extra. This is gonna be the whole thing. So I can figure it out why that is very clearly now. Okay, so now it's just a matter of showing it to you, and I'm going to take this off here just to make sure we do a good job of that. This is going to be story number 1, which is pretty much this group here to the left of my hand. Story number 1. Story number 2, we're going to go over here. This is going to be a larger story, ending at the inverted moon, starting at the left with all that glitters. That's story 2. Story 3 is going to be over here. It's pretty much my upper column here, so this card is out. Pretty much what you see right there. That's going to be story 3. Story number 4, we're going to come down for this very large one. Starting all the way with To Be Fair, moving all along. This is all one giant story ending at the 10 of Wands. And then we move on to story number 5, which we'll conclude with. That'll be right here, ending with Co-Create. So let's get to work. Leo, lots to talk about. Money, 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 Leos. And in my quadrants video, I have a lot of correlation with that too, where they talk about this first quadrant for a lot of signs. It may be you guys too, was just a very, very convoluted, very intriguing financial one. So I can see why they wanted to get ahead of this for you guys. Now let's get started with story 1. We start with some more financial freedom occurring here in January for some of my Leos. If you're here with me in story 1, this has been a struggle where it was more a mental struggle than any. We have 3 swords in the same story, and swords is the cerebral suit. So mental suit. Sometimes this is all in your head. It's not necessarily real, but stuff that you stress about and worry about. So some of you have been worrying about finances, especially if you're partnered up in a coupled relationship. You're married, you're engaged, you're just with somebody else doing something as a team. A lot of you guys have been stressed about finances here. They're starting to get wrapped up here. It's starting to get more clear. They're sending you messages in a bottle. Basically, that's messages from the other side that, you're getting clues here that things are, you're coming out of this. So it's a much better place to be coming out of than going into. Much improved there. They want you to be very, very authoritative with your decision making in January, especially when it comes to finances. Make the decisions for yourself. Don't let other people choose for you. Don't let other family members choose for you. You got to make these decisions yourself and hold yourself accountable for it. It is upright, so I do feel like you do a good job in this position, but at the same time, we need to keep it upright. We need to keep doing a good job when that occurs. Just checking my inverts real quick because I just realized I wasn't thorough with that, but thankfully, Spirit did a good job. We're good to go. So the last thing that we talk about here in story 1 is that, it's just because you're coming out of this financial burdensome phase, there are still going to be a lot of challenges here. There's still a lot of financial drama to be had. This is not over. This is like a war. Just because you win a battle doesn't mean it's over. Doesn't mean you win the war. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what story 1 refers to. So really just keep things on the up and up, especially, I think figuring out what story is for you here. If that's something that you've been worrying a lot about, that story is for you. This is a card about worrying and stressing and basically saying, hey, you're going to move out of this. You just need to be very firm about it. You need to stick with the script and keep fighting, okay? Because the war is not over just because you win a battle. So there we go, story 1. Let's move into story 2, guys. Story number 2, we begin with a big purchase. These are my Leos that are making a large purchase right now, right here in January. If you are doing that, this may be about you. If not, you can probably bypass this story. But, the month is long. Just because you're not making a big purchase here on January 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or, early in the month, doesn't mean you're not going to later in the month. So if hey, you end up buying a new car by the end of January, you might want to come back and check this thing out because, hey, you might be in story 2 and didn't know it. Now, they want to remind you that all that glitters is not gold here. So it's letting you know that something is not what it appears. This could be it reminds me of I gave you the car example. Let's go with that one. Of course, this could be about anything, but using that as an example so you understand the energy. All that glitters is not gold. This car looks great. It's a great price, drives good, looks good, but you know what? There's something going on there. There's a reason that price is low. There's a reason it's a good deal, and it's not all that it looks like it is. Okay, so something is not what it appears to be. So especially if you're making a big purchase, let's pretend this is a house, even more pertinent, more relevant. That's a huge deal. Now they do bring in a male here. We have a masculine force. This could of course be a woman too, but it would be a very masculine, forceful woman. Usually this is just a biological male. And this person comes in this story. This is relevant, whether this is not you. Even if you're a male Leo that is tuning in here, and that sounds like you in story 2, they're talking about another male because they don't have to tell you this is about you twice. You already know it's about you the first time. The second time here, we have another person. It's a male. So they're involved in this story. Now, how they're involved, they do bring in a woman that's upside down. So maybe the woman is not liking this idea, or she's a little cautious about the idea, and the man is all for it. Now, the other energy of that is nurturing the family. So think of the family here financially in regards to this decision. That's the other definition of my Queen of Cups. Is you really have to think about others. So don't overspend, don't overindulge, especially these financial big purchases that are going on. The last thing we show here is temperance, which is a reminder that you're going to have to be patient in this situation. It's not necessarily going to resolve itself very fast or very perhaps the way that you want it to be wrapped up. But you know what? Hey, it's okay. You're going to get through it. They basically show that Death by 1,000 Paper Cuts card is on an invert, which basically means you're coming out of that. Little pains, little stresses, little anxious little moments. You're moving out of the paper cut phase, and you're moving more into, you just got to be patient. And also we have the moon card on an invert, which is great to see because that means the weird energy. The weird, mysterious energy of the moon is starting to go away. So things are starting to get clear. You're starting to get a clearer financial scope of what you need to do in the month of January and beyond. So there we go with story 2, guys. Very good. Let's get story 3, then we're going to get some moon cycles. Story number 3 is a shorter story. They start with talking about a major decision that needs to be made financially that has not been made yet. If that sounds like you, Leo, you're here with me in story 3. This needs to get made. You got to really blow the horn on this and make this decision, make it real. They do show that you got to do things the right way, though, so no cutting corners. This is also a card about, the Hierophant card is about taking care of your people. That can come up here, but really no cutting corners, no toxicity. This has got to be on the up and up, so it's something like if you do your taxes, you got to do it right. You can't be cheating, can't be fudging some stuff. Same thing with contracts and everything else. So keep things on the up and up, very, very important. Do things the right way. Purity. Because they do show some theft going on there, and I don't think it's you that's doing it. I feel like somebody else maybe is trying to steal something from you, or it's just a card about deceit. And coming up in the financial corner, this is a time when you need to check your bank statements. There may be extra charges. Maybe it's just a double charge. The restaurant billed you twice by accident. Something as silly as that. It could be, something that happened to me before at a gas station. Somebody skimmed my card or whatever, and then the next thing you know, extra charges are showing up, and the next thing you know, you got to cancel the whole thing, freeze it, get a new card. So this can come up in a bunch of different ways. Even if you lose something, it's just like you don't have it anymore. So the energy is the same. It doesn't mean anybody stole it from you, but if you lose it, the end result is identical. It's the same thing. So be careful of all these things. Try not to be forgetful, especially with money, where you leave your purse. Don't leave valuables out in the open where if there are criminals around in your bubble that they are going to take something from you. Good time to lock your doors and keep everything, all your valuables safe. The last thing we show here is a very good perception through this time. So even though there's a major decision to be made in this situation and what you're trying to do with your finances, you have a very good outlook on it. I love your outlook. It's very much the glass is half full instead of half empty. You're working with what you got to work with. And we end with serendipity. So there's a lot of kind of like just good luck around you in the situation. So the finances are going to work out just fine. It's just a matter of this major decision getting made and getting to that point. So that's what we have there for story 3. I'm going to cut away real quick to tell you about the moon cycles, all the new stuff that is going on in the store, the channel, the new products, the whole lot. We have huge moon cycles in January and February, the biggest of the year until August. So huge stuff. Going to cut away for that. Come back with story 4 and 5. Story 4 is the big one. Okay guys, it is moon cycle forecast time. Let's talk about those moon cycles because we have the most lunar activity now, January and February until August, guys. So these 2 months are going to be huge. Let's talk about January. The first thing that comes in January is on January 6th. This is going to be a micro full moon. It's called the Wolf Moon because it's the first full moon of the year of 2023. And the full moon is the best time to get anything out of your life that doesn't fit there, that you don't want there in general. Hey, you just got to get it out. It doesn't matter what it is. The universe doesn't care. We've done very specific spreads this month, and it doesn't matter if it's something we've talked about or not. Let's say it's something, for some of you it's people. You got to get people out of your life. For some of you, you got to sell something. You got to repurpose something to get it out of your life. Emotional baggage, stress, anxiety. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's something that's got to go and be removed from your life, let's say certain eating habits, the whole bit. It's full moon energy, guys, and the best time to do that is the first week of January. This is very much, New Year's resolution stuff is when you do new things. Well, actually, the way that the moon cycles line up, that's not the case. It's actually the best at the beginning of the new year to get rid of something out of your life with that full moon energy. Now, adversely, and what does micro mean? Micro just means that it's small in the sky. So it's smaller visibly than normal. And, does that mean that it doesn't work as well? No, not really. You can still get it done. It's, the energy is lightened a little bit. But let's talk about that new moon because that's the opposite. That we have another super new moon coming in January. We just had one in December. We're going to have another one in February. And right now in January, the sky is going to be huge. It is the super new moon. It happens on January 21st. So, don't focus on the end of the month because that gets back into the full moon eking in from February. But let's call it the third week. The third week of January is the best time to bring actually anything brand new into your life. That New Year's resolution stuff, save it for week 3. I'm telling you, much better chance of getting it to stick and making it apply. And you can just use this new year between now and then as preparation time to get ready for these changes that you're trying to make. And what are you trying to bring new into your life? Well, like I said, the universe doesn't care. It doesn't matter what you use it for. You can use it to attract new love. You can use it to attract new finances. Do something new with work, something new with health. It doesn't matter. So if it's something new, the third week of January is going to be your target time for that, so please stick to that. It's going to help it just move a little smoother. And if any of this has confused you, I've put together a moon cycle cheat sheet. It is for free, and it is on my website. You can check that out anytime. It's on my videos tab. Go to the bottom there. You can see the moon cycle cheat sheet, and it shows you how these energies flow in and out and how best to align important decisions in your own life to them to make things go a little smoother. That's what it's all about, guys, while you're at the website. Make sure you're signed up for the newsletter program. That's at the sign up for that is at the very bottom of every single page, as well as follow the Facebook page because I do giveaways on there, as well as my newsletter people get giveaways as well. And I only send one newsletter email every single month. It's just for promo codes and updates, see what's going on. We're always doing new and fun things on the channel, on the site. And also, guys, now I need to tell you about the new product. Speaking of new fun things, I have my quadrants video. I only do these in January, guys, and this is releasing on January 3rd. If you're checking out this video after January 3rd, it's going to autoplay after your reading. But if not, you guys are going to have to check it out. But it's going to be available and posted everywhere, YouTube, Facebook, on my website, the whole bit. Check out your quadrants video. It forecasts the entire year for your sign. And we're looking at, what is the best quadrant? What is the best, quadrant is basically a circle that's broken into 4 parts. So this is your year. What quadrant, what quarter is the best for you for work, for health, for love? What is the best quadrant to take a vacation in? What is the best quadrant for you to be a little conservative? What's the best quadrant for you to get busy and take risks? All these things are going to be looked at in the quadrants video. You can get a sampling of that for yourself for the sign, and that's going to be available to everybody. But let's say you want quadrants done just for you. This is the first time I'm releasing this, guys, as a personal audio product. It is part of the mini product line, and this allows you great planning and preparation tools for the entire year. It's the only time I offer this, and it forecasts the entire year. So this is all about you, so it's extremely accurate. And looking at all these things, it's a huge drop of information, guys. It's the best, probably the best bang for your buck. Anytime I've done this for friends, for colleagues, for clients, they always say, if you only get one thing a year, this is like the best thing to do because it outlines everything that is important and relevant. So, and you guys get to check that out for free, a little sampling in the general reading. But if that's not good enough for you, you want something that's all about you, the quadrants video is now available as a personal audio product on the website. And it's extremely affordable, best bang for your buck you can get. Speaking of new things on the website, guys, I got to tell you about the shop. We got Tiger's Eye gemstones going in on the shop, and I'm going to be flashing pictures up as I talk about it here. We got the standard golden Tiger's Eye. We got the red flare Tiger's Eye. It's just red Tiger's Eye. I call it flare because it's so shiny. And then we got the blue Tiger's Eye, also very, very shiny, very deep dark blue. And they all kind of vibrate a little bit differently, but they're all kind of the same major themes. Tiger's Eye is really good for negating any kind of negative energy, transmuting it basically, and it's also good for insight and seeing things very clearly, and a whole host of other things as far as medical reasons too, medical things that it really does to boost your body. So a whole host of different things. I'm not going to spend, we got to get back to your reading. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but the whole write-up is on the website, scottsagent.com. You can check out all three of them and the differences between each of them. And also available, I got a few keychains to go with them. There's a few individual products for keychains. And the best part about the whole thing is what it comes with. Any kind of gemstone purchase is going to come with a free little nylon drawstring bag, a little way to carry your gemstone, and also a little pendant, which is going to be a separate gemstone. Both of those are going to come for free. Okay, well, what if I just buy one gemstone? Do I still get that stuff for free? Yes, you do. You absolutely do. You get all of it with every purchase. Now, it's only one per month, guys, but you know what? Most people are only going to make one purchase a month anyway. So you're getting all this free stuff with any gemstone purchase, and you can read that right up online. It's a no-brainer, guys. Make sure you check out all three of those beautiful tiger's eyes. Now let's get back to your reading. Okay, Leo, I am back, ready for story number 4. The first thing they bring in and talk about here is the Hermit card. This is a card about being guided. Some of you are being shown the way financially here. This can also be a card about doing something alone. If you're alone financially, doing things by yourself, this could very well be you here in story number 4. Or if you're seeking guidance like, a financial advisor or something like that, this could also be you here in story 4. They bring in To Be Fair with my Oracle card, so they're letting you know here that, we're trying to keep things in a nice little balance here. That's, I guess, kind of standard for all the signs that everybody tries to keep things in balance, but that leads to me to believe that something may be out of balance, and that's why they're bringing this up. They do want you to avoid a bad decision here. Okay, so hopefully this is something you have an idea of what I'm talking about, where you're like, hey, I was thinking about putting a few $1,000s into a certain stock. Well, maybe that's a bad decision here, especially if you're doing your finances alone and you're being guided and learning all this new stuff. This could revert back to the very first thing that we talked about there. So bad decision, try to avoid that. Be a little safe and conservative, especially if you're here with me in story number 4. The next thing we show here is, if you don't do that, this is going to move down a rocky road, and that's what they're trying to get you to avoid here. They're trying to get you to play it safe, not do anything crazy, especially in January. Maybe other months this changes, but for right now, it is the way it is. We next show the Queen of Pentacles. This is not the person, this is the energy, so they're saying it's time to save. Time to be a little nurturing with the financial corner. Basically, the tarot translation is save. Save, save, save your money, especially in the month of January. They want you to be the boss with this and own it. Be accountable for yourself. We talked about that more in story 1. You can see a little correlation here. This is how general readings are able to be done for an entire sign and still be accurate. So really be the boss. You really have to really step up and do all these things, especially when it comes to saving. Be the boss. So it's nobody else's fault. So if this works out good for you and you do your good job, it is all you. And if it doesn't, it is also all you. So very important. They do show getting over some physical injury here that could be affecting some of you financially. If, like, let's say you've been walking around on crutches and can't work, something like that could be for some of you, getting over that. So it's healing up and getting on the mend and getting back to work, something like that. This can also be being beaten up. Maybe some of you have been beaten up financially here in story number 4, and hey, you're starting to come out of it now. Okay, just because you're coming out of it, you still want to save, though. You don't want to just blow everything that you've just worked, all the hard work you've done. You know what I mean? Last thing we show here is we have a money message coming in also early in January. So there's a correspondence coming in about money. Maybe it's a bill that you didn't expect. That would be like a negative version. Like, I didn't expect the toll road bill to come through, or to pay my car insurance again. Like, all these kind of things, a surprise bill. But it could also be a good thing. Good surprise too. Correspondence coming in early. Like, hey, you overpaid on something. Here's your return. Or, hey, here's a spot bonus for the holidays. Here's a new year, surplus for something, sales revenue, something like that. So it's a money correspondence coming in different for everybody. The last thing we show here is really moving forward with the lessons you've learned. They show some of you financially, Leos, you have a tendency to not move forward with these lessons. Even though you've learned them, you just don't really put them to use. So the universe and spirit is saying, hey, you know what, Leo, you got to get to work on this. You've done the work. You know what you need to do. You know what you're good at. You know what you're not good at. You know what you need to avoid financially. You know what you need to do. So do it. you're good to go. You have all the tools. You have been through the experience. You're good with it. Let's do it. Let's put it to use. So get the balance there, and story 4 is what they're looking for. Story number 5, the way we wrap up this very long but good, profound spread for Leos, starts talking about being authoritative with the family. This is like a love type deal, so that's anybody close to your heart. Family and friends usually is what they're referring to. So you need to be in control of what happens with the money with the family. The home projects you do versus the ones you wait for, all that kind of stuff, the financial purchases. They do show that there is a new business coming in here in story 5 if you've been thinking about a new business or a new revenue stream for work. That could be talking about here that it's coming in but not fully clear. It's on a block, so it means it's on a delay, or it's not here yet, or there's something in the way for it to really show through clear. So this is probably not the time to be doing that. I would go back to the other messages talking about saving and so forth. So we also have coming in here the 10 of Cups, which is saying, there is this should be a little bit better than it is. It's a joyous card. It is a very happy card. But in this deck that they wanted me to use for you, it's just something's a little off here. So even though the finances are good here in story 5, this is probably for my Leos that the finances are good. There's no real worry about it. Well, you know what? It's good, but it can still be improved. There's something that just doesn't feel right about it, or maybe, you'd like to see something move a different direction so that you just get to that next chapter. Now, they do show that there is a shakeup coming here in story number 5, and this is the Tower inverted, so it's letting you know that this is like a collapse of some form, but it doesn't mean it's a bad collapse. Collapses have to happen so you can build something up differently, so you can redo things better, all that kind of thing. And being on an invert basically means that you can kind of see it coming, so it's not a total surprise. It's like you knew this day was going to come. You knew you were going to have to transfer the money from this into this. You know you're going to have to invest in this, and here it comes. It's coming in January in story 5. The next thing we show here is an event, so a lot of my story number 5 people are putting finances into an event. Maybe a birthday party, a gathering, something like that, going to a concert, big group outing of some form. Event is the best way to cover it. And they bring in co-create. So this is something that a bunch of people are doing together and really kind of making magic happen. This is a great thing. This is a great event. Maybe it's even a forum. Maybe you're putting on a show, something like that. But this is really great camaraderie energy, and the finances are permissive there. The finances can be moved very well there. So that's it for story 5, guys. It's been a long reading. Trying to wrap it up as fast as I can because I know I'm over my time. Now I'm going to do the runestone, which is going to bring the whole thing together. They're already mixed up, but one more swirl. And here we go with the runestone for Leo. So for January, the runestone is going to be this guy right here. This is the runestone of separation. So it's creating space between certain things. Separation, whether it's separating yourself from a spending habit, separating yourself from a bill. Hey, we got to get that credit card paid off and just leave it alone. Stop using it. Separation, you're creating space between you and something else financially. Separation is a big draw. Really, I can go through every single story and talk about it, but I think you guys know what separation means. You got to create some distance between you and something else that you're doing here financially so that, February hits, this financial situation, regardless of what story you're in, is improved and in a good shape, good set, and you guys are ready to go. So that has been the entire reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe so you see the future videos. That's it for me. Happy New Year. Have a great January.